Welcome, Washington Defenders. I'm Pastor Brian Noble, and we're in Roanoke, Ocean Shores at the Roanoke Conference, and it's a great day. There's a bunch of conservatives here, and I have a special guest. Introduce yourselves to our audience, and we're going to talk about a little bit what you're passionate about.
Hi, my name is Donna Land. I'm just a mom who hates bullies, and in 2023, I filed Referendum 101, which was in opposition to Senate Bill 5599, the bill that is now law that allows the state of Washington to hide kids from their parents if the kids are expressing a gender identity. Mm-hmm. They will pay for and house and pay for their transition, quote unquote transition, without parental knowledge or consent.
Wow. So let's start with your T-shirt. You got a big bold T-shirt, trans women are men?
Yes, absolutely.
So explain that to me.
Well, trans women are men. Unfortunately, the transgender ideology has increased and become prevalent throughout all aspects of our society. And it's really important to fight back with all of that. Saying trans women are men really aggravates the men in dresses because they know it's true. Only men can be trans women, and so it's just a way to push back and really push the buttons. So
what you're saying to me, I just want to make sure I get this right. Like the plumbing that you have, is the plumbing that you are.
Exactly.
And you're proclaiming science from the rooftops, like trans women. In other words, they have a penis. They are a man. Is that?
Absolutely. Gender is a social construct. It means it's pure fiction. We are our sex. I can identify, I am a woman. I can identify as a Christian. I can identify as a feminist.
Right.
I cannot identify as a chair.
Right.
I cannot identify my way into a different physical state of being.
Right.
And that is true for absolutely everyone. That is science.
That's mind blowing, right? I mean, you think about this, like this is like so brand new. I'm being a little bit sarcastic, of course.
Right.
But the fact is that you are so right. You are how God created you to be. So tell me a little bit about your passion and a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I've been fighting the transgender ideology since 2017. It started in 2016. My friend Kaye Triller was fired from the YMCA because she wouldn't write a policy stating that men could use the women's locker room. Men who confuse men could use the locker room. That is women's. So that sparked the locker room privacy bill or initiative. And in 2016, I didn't have time. I'm a mom, and my kids were much younger then. And I thought, I don't have time for that. But of course that's going to pass. That's a no-brainer. And they didn't get enough signatures. I was shocked.
Wow.
And so in 2017, when they ran it again, I jumped in both feet. Gave it every weekend. I was out gathering signatures, and I was running everything in the South office of processing the signatures and stuff during the week. Everything. I gave it everything I had, and we still fell a little bit short. But it wasn't for lack of trying, and God has a purpose for everything.
Right.
This just sparked a movement.
So let me tell you what it sparked inside of me when I looked at that being like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 short. I don't remember the number, but I was like, we've got to come up with a better way to mobilize people quicker. So we created the Washington Defender app. So that way we can ding people's phones and say, here's your signing location. We need to pre-identify how many signers we have in the state who will actually sign conservative, and for me, as a Christian, a biblical worldview. And so we want to do that. And so you inspired me by us falling short on that. So it did accomplish something.
Yeah, that was Kaye. That was all Kaylee's initiative.
Right.
In 2019, along these lines,
you're great. Okay.
Yeah. It was Drag Queen Story Hour. Was everywhere. And so we were fighting, a few of us moms were fighting the Drag Queen Story Hour in King County libraries. And at one point, that was the year that the Renton branch of the King County Library hosted a teen pride event. And so some of us moms infiltrated that. It was a public event. I was one of the 2 moms that was hauled out of that event by police when they tried to kick us out because it was obvious that we didn't agree with their thinking. But we didn't protest. We weren't, causing a ruckus or anything.
So basically you showed up and you were there, but they could tell that you weren't part of the group.
Right. Well, it was a 6-hour event.
Wow.
And it was the baby really of teen librarian at the Renton branch, Maggie Block. She got grant money for this. She went to the schools, the local schools, and told the kids that transportation and food would be provided, and that their parents didn't need to know.
Wow.
And so they made the event so that it was the first 3 hours or first 4 hours were during library hours. Then the library closed, and the last 2 hours it was only those teens that were in there and their parents. This is what they tried to use to justify us. It was still a public event,
right? And
we still had just as much a right to be there as the other parents. They had drag queens there performing, and after the library closed is when they had the Q&A session for these drag queens.
I see.
2 of the 4 men in dresses were claiming to be trans and were giving advice, gave their Instagram handles to these kids, these minors. They were giving binders. They were a raffle for binders, which is a device that girls who think they should be boys compress their breasts so they have a more masculine appearance.
Right.
So anyway, we were thrown out of there. But all of our efforts worked because King County Library hasn't had a drag queen story hour since 2019.
Good job.
So 2021, there was 2020, which is COVID.
Right.
But 2021, we started doing protesting outside of pediatric gender clinics.
Okay.
Starting with Seattle Children's and also Mary Bridge, who does have that as well. And we've been doing that ever since.
Wow.
I didn't start them initially, but I participated, and now I'm the one that basically organizes those and gets people to come out as often as we can.
That's awesome.
And I know that we're having an effect because the individual, the doctor that's in charge of that in Seattle Children's, where they have not one clinic but 2. One of them is exclusively for kids on the autism spectrum.
Wow!
But that doctor deleted their X account,
right?
Because I kept tagging them in posts.
I see.
Yeah. So.
Well, I am so glad you're taking a stand on these things. We would love to have you back on again sometime. You are just a breath of fresh air as we go. So let's just blessings upon you as you do this. So
thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So I'm Pastor Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington. We are so glad that you tuned in. And like we like to say out there, go download the Washington Defender app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. It is a grassroots app that you can get involved and get all the information in just one place. Also, want to encourage you to go out there and defend and advance conservative values in the public square. God bless.